Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, and I want to praise you for calling this extraordinarily important hearing at the beginning of our recess, and I wish that all of the media which swarm over this Congress when we conduct oversight into governmental corruption and criminality were here today, because this is a crime too. This is corruption, and this is a nationwide scandal. And I must say that this is the finest and most inspiring panel of witnesses that I've seen since I got to Congress, and I hope that every American takes the time to watch your testimony today or tonight or over the weekend, and I wish I had an hour to question all of you. Mr. Mitchell, I have a special attachment to your testimony because it is so lucid and brilliant and clear, and also because you're my constituent in Bethesda, Maryland, and you make the 8th District of Maryland proud. I wish I knew someone who had millions of Twitter and Snapchat followers all over America who could retweet your testimony. Maybe I could prevail upon one of our distinguished freshman members of the committee to make you famous today, Mr. Mitchell. My friend from Ohio launched his remarks today with the now obligatory attacks on socialists, but it's not socialists who are jacking up the prices to make prescription drugs unaffordable for millions of Americans, and it's not socialists who are stifling competition. It's the large pharmaceutical companies themselves. And this would be no surprise to my beloved Adam Smith, who understood that the companies are in the business of profit, not out of altruism, but out of self-interest. That's what makes the market work. But if you allow those companies to get so big and so powerful that they take over the system, they will destroy competition. And every significant free market economist has understood that. I think that's the burden of your testimony, Mr. Mitchell, that that's what's going on. If they can make profit by paying off generic competitors to stay out of the market and thereby keep prices inflated, they'll do it. If they can make extra profit by obtaining new drug patents for old drugs that have long been on the market, they'll do that. And if they can inflate their profits by lobbying Congress to keep us from engaging in the cardinal market activity of negotiating for lower prices, they will do that too. And our job as representatives in Congress is not to bow down to large corporations, but to stand up to them for the public interest and for the people. Mr. Mitchell, in just 2 years, as a person dealing with an illness, a serious illness, you have built a community of more than 150,000 patients and families to fight for lower prescription drug prices, to fight for real competition, and to fight against monopoly pricing in medical services. Now, you say that these high drug prices are not about innovation. That may have been the single most important thing you said. Explain why high drug prices are not about innovation.
There is no correlation, and multiple academics have studied this, between the cost to develop a drug and the price at which it is set. It is set as high as the company can set it because of what you said, they're profit maximizers. And as long as we let them do that, they will continue to do that. Why would they stop? It's their job to take care of their shareholders. And that's my concern, is that that wrecks the balance between ensuring that we give a really good, rich return for excellent, innovative new drugs and ensure that a price is set that is affordable. May I give you one example?
Yes, and then I'm going to follow up with another question.
I'm very concerned because NIH reports, Francis Collins, director of NIH reports, there is an impending cure coming for sickle cell out of NIH. So we checked, and it turns out that NIH has invested $300 million in something called lenaclobin BB305, and NIH reports it's spending $100 million a year right now on sickle cell cure. These gene therapies are coming to market at between $500,000 and $2 million. If we have a cure for sickle cell that comes out of NIH that will be for 100,000 people in this country who have sickle cell, it'll cost us $100 billion. And there are 400 gene therapies in development. How are we going to pay for this?
Now, let me follow up on that. I'm the proud representative not only of you, Mr. Mitchell, but of the NIH, which invests billions of dollars in scientific and medical research to fight the killer diseases that our population is struggling with. When they come up with breakthroughs, those scientific inventions and discoveries are used by these companies. So, should the public investment in the research be also considered when we're deciding about the regulation of prescription drug prices?
The gentleman's time has expired, but you may briefly answer the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we believe it should, and we also think we should pay attention when we talk about the drug companies financing clinical trials that we give them tax breaks for that. The Orphan Drug Act gives them, for the trials that are done for Ms. McGlynn's son, a tax break under the Orphan Drug Act. So taxpayers are not only financing research through NIH, but through various tax advantages that accrue to the companies for doing that research. And by the way, don't stop that. Keep it going. I need new drugs or I'm going to die. And that's straight up a fact. So we want it, but we want the drugs to come forward at prices we can afford.
Thank you.
Mr. Keller,